In selecting your bow, the first thing I would say is, I hope you get the message. High poundage bow for a beginner is an absolute no-no. Archery is all about repetition. It's about being able to practice shot after shot after shot. And you'll find as you go through the course that there's lots of different aspects in your shooting that need to be practiced. If you have a high poundage bow, you're going to tire very quickly and you probably won't even be able to draw it properly in the first place. So it's absolutely imperative that you start at a low poundage. For an adult who come here to train, we use a 20-pound bow, and you know, most people do actually say after they've done the first couple hour session that they go away quite sore, have to have a hot bath. So don't buy a high poundage bow. If you've already bought one, I would suggest that you see if you can get lighter limbs for it, and if not, return it or put it aside and get yourself a lighter trainer bow. Why do we want a light bow? If you look at Olympic archers, they've been practicing for years, they've probably been shooting since they were kids. Olympic archers will shoot a 40 to 46 pound bow. If you look at the branded products on the marketplace, the heaviest limb that you can buy for recurve bow is 46 pounds. So if you've bought a 40-pound bow or even a 30-pound bow, it's just not going to be suitable for you to be able to learn archery. So always ensure that you start at a low poundage and then gradually build up. Okay, so you've decided that you want to learn archery. First thing you need to decide is what sort of bow that you need. So before you can decide on whether it's metal, wood or whatever, you need to know, am I right or left-handed? So in archery, the draw hand is your handing. So I'm right-handed, so I draw with my right arm and I hold the bow in my left hand. So although I'm holding the bow in my left hand, I'm a right-handed archer. Bit confusing, but remember that. Things that dictate which way around you're going to shoot is obviously, are you right-handed, are you left-handed? The other thing is eye dominance. So I'm a bit of an oddball, my friends tell me. So I am actually left eye dominant, but I'm right-handed. How do I know my eye dominance? The quick and easy way to do that is if you hold your hands out in front of you and leave a little hole to look through. Focus on something, anything, through the hole, and then just draw your hand back to your face, still looking at what you were looking at before, if that makes sense. So you'll see that I've actually ended up with the gap in my hand over my left eye, so I'm left eye dominant. Now that means that when I shoot right-handed, if I don't close my left eye or put a patch over it, my left eye takes over and I will go way left of the target. So when I shoot, I have to put an eye patch on or close my left eye so that I'm aiming with my right eye and the left eye isn't interfering with it. Now I do have a friend who's also an oddball. So he, again, right-handed, left eye dominant. He actually decided I'm going to shoot left-handed. So he actually had a whole load of right-hand stuff, swapped to left hand, sold all his stuff off, bought left-handed, and he's been shooting like that and doing very well for a few years now. I just couldn't master drawing a bow left-handed. It just didn't feel comfortable. It was a strength thing, so gave up on that. So if you're right eye dominant, right-handed, you're a right-handed archer. If you're left eye dominant, left-handed, you're a left-handed archer. If you are left eye dominant and right-handed, or right eye dominant and left-handed, then you need to kind of decide what it is that you want to do. But the main thing is that you need to either shoot with your dominant eye on that handing, or close that eye or patch it when you're shooting. I hope that's clear. If you get any questions, give us an email on the email below. So let's look at bows now. So we're doing recurve archery in this course. This is a base, what I call a baseline trainer bow. Clubs use a lot of these. This is a wooden recurve bow, and it has what's called bolt-on limbs. So the limbs, all these bows come apart, but the limbs in this case are actually held in with a bolt. I take that out. So you have a hole in the limb and a pocket on the handle, and you just screw there and that holds it in place. Now, in this type of bow, there is no industry standard as to where that hole on the limb actually sits. So if you are buying online, make sure that you're buying a complete bow and that you don't start trying to buy a handle from one place and limbs from other place, because invariably what's going to happen, this won't line up and you'll just end up sending everything back. So make sure that you're buying a complete bow if you're buying a wooden bolt on. So in this case, central handle's wood and the limbs are wood. And this is a baseline, not too expensive bow, but it also will take a pressure button in here, it will take a sight up here, it'll take stabilizers in the front. All these ports are industry standard, so the thread size and the positioning is the same on these as they are on the other bows that I'm going to be looking at. So you don't have any worries in terms of fitting accessories onto this type of bow. The other thing with these is the limbs can be interchanged for heavier and lighter draw weights. The limbs will always come with a sticker on them which tells you what the draw weight is. So on limbs with bolts, that is a fixed weight. You cannot change it. There's no adjustment in it at all. So if you buy a 22-pound limb, it's a 22-pound bow. The next step up from the wooden trainer is a metal trainer. So this is much the same specification as the last one we looked at, but it's got a slimmer handle on it, so the grip in that feels a bit better to me than it does on the wooden bows, which are a bit bulkier. Again, it has industry standard fitments to take your buttons, sights, stabilizers, etc. The only difference being that being a metal handle, it is a little bit heavier, but it's stiffer and more resilient than a wooden handle would be. But again, bolt-on limbs, so these are fixed draw weights. Now the next bow we're going to look at is what's called an ILF bow. So ILF stands for International Limb Fit. This is a standard that has been agreed across all manufacturers of ILF bow handles. So if you just watch, instead of unbolting the limb, what I do is I just pull it out, and you'll see at the end of it is shaped, and it also has a mushroom headed connector here. So I can take any limb from any manufacturer and fit it to any handle from any manufacturer, so I can mix and match across the two. The other thing with these is that they're adjustable. So you have an adjuster here, and in the module we do on setting up your bow for the first time, we go through all this. But you can actually adjust the draw weights on these by plus or minus 2 pounds. So if you bought 20-pound limbs, you can adjust it down to 18 or up to 22. The other thing you can do on these is there's adjusters here. Now, this isn't on all of them, and again, this will be why some handles are cheaper than others. But these adjusters that are in here allow the adjustment of the limb this way and this way. And again, when we come to setting up your bow for the first time, you'll see why that adjustment is important in terms of getting the center shot on your bow set up correctly. So that is the main differences in these, and we'll now have a look at a few different handles just to point out a few subtleties in the way they're made. So we've already seen the wooden trainer handles. There's not a lot more you can say about these other than the handle. Because they're wood, they're a bit bulkier, so the handle on these tend to be a little bit thicker and bigger. So I personally find them quite bulky to hold on to, but I've got dinky little hands. But it's just something to maybe consider whether you're wanting to buy a wooden trainer or whether you want to look at the metal handled with a bolt fit, because the handles are a lot neater. If you actually look at them side by side, you can see that the wood is thicker back to front. So on the, if we move on to the ILF that we looked at earlier, you can get them relatively cheaply. What you're tending to forsake is the adjusters here. And obviously things are made for a price. So in terms of manufacturing tolerances, these won't be quite as good as they would be on a more expensive handle. But they are actually a great little bow for your first bow. But you'll probably find that maybe after a year or so that you would want to move on to something a little better. Now, this is what's called a forged handle. So the way this is made is it's basically made in a mold, and then it's taken out, it's buffed up, cleaned down, and then it has a powder painting applied to it, so it's a painted finish. So these all tend to be a glossy finish on them. Now, the other type of CNC handle you can get is this type. Now, this is what's called a CNC machined handle. This started off life as a solid block of aluminium, and a computer then cut it from that block. So the tolerances in manufacture on this are a lot better than they would be on a forged handle, and consequently they'll cost a little more than a forged handle would. But you're progressing up market a bit. So I mean, if you were to buy a handle like this, I could well see this doing you for the whole of your archery career. You would upgrade limbs, you'd upgrade accessories, but a handle itself would last you a lifetime. So you need to decide at the onset, do I want to buy a cheaper handle that I'll probably want to change in a year or so, or do I spend a bit more and go for a CNC machined handle? And last but not least, if you're of a more diminutive size, or you're a youth but want to get heavily into archery and do well at it, you can get smaller handles. So this is a 25-inch handle, which with medium limbs would give you a 60-inch bow, which is perfect for me. I'm 5'9". If you're 5 foot but you want to have a handle like that, this is a smaller one. You can see this is a 21-inch handle, and this is the 25. You can get 23-inch handles. You can also get 27-inch handles if you're super tall and you need something a bit bigger again. But in the main, most people, adults, will shoot with the 25-inch handle. So in conclusion, any of the handles that we've looked at will be perfectly satisfactory for you to learn archery. It just depends whether you want to start further up the chain than at the base level.